All right, so welcome to Module 4 of the Introduction to Marketing, and we're going to go into deep detail here. This is quite a heavy module, and like most of it, I think it's really important that you sort of have an opportunity to replay it, pause certain areas, work on one thing at a time sort of thing. But like I said, I just want to give you an overview, and it's going to be quite deep and detailed here, but one that's vitally important because we are sort of going deeper into the how of marketing, the media aspect. And specifically, we're going to talk about optimization, what it is and how to optimize. We are going to address that age-old debate of paid versus organic media. I'm going to suggest to you 12 media platforms that everybody should use. Okay, we're going to look at the role of social media. Sometimes it's sort of thrown out there as though it's just a totally different concept to other forms of media, and I'm just here to just sort of show you some examples and discuss my own thoughts on it. And then we're also going to cover in this module list building via the effective use of media. So as we move along here, in the previous module we talked about the marketing triangle, where we've got the message, the market, and the media, the what, the who, and the how. And I'd said before that the media is often the one that comes first, all right? However, not one aspect is more important than the other, all right? But when we do actually come to sort of saying with the media now it is time for us to begin to sort of use it to market, we really need to have a very, very good understanding of it. This gentleman is no longer with us, sadly. His name is Gary Halbert, and he really is a genius. He was a genius, but you can still sort of find him on YouTube and see various things that he has contributed to. As you can see there, he wasn't lacking on confidence either. And I sort of felt so strongly about the impact that he can have, certainly on my audience, that I've put up a series, I believe it's 4 videos of Gary Halbert being interviewed. Just some really fascinating stuff that you can find on the Matrix Global Media YouTube channel. I do recommend you go and listen to those. But Gary Halbert always sort of used to say that you need 3 things to sell. So if you really want to sell, you need to have these 3 things. The first is something tangible, a product, a service, or a program. Next, a story. Okay, why you, over everybody else? Why your product is better? What will it do? What are the outcomes someone will do? What transformations can they expect? What answers will it deliver? All right, and then third, a platform to tell that story. Okay, so you need something tangible, you need a story, and then you need a platform to tell that story. So when we talk about media, that is your platform. Okay, that is where you are going to be able to sort of elaborate on what it is that you want to sell and why indeed you are the person to deliver it, why your company or organization is the one to deliver it over and above everyone else. So in addition to it being a platform, Dan Kennedy made this really great analogy that it's your toolbox. Okay, the media, it's your toolbox, and the worst number, the totally worst number that you can ever have when it comes relative to your marketing is one form of marketing, one tool in the toolbox, one form of media that you are using. And this man, Perry Marshall, who is in our world, the internet marketing world, just an absolute sort of genuine legend here, a very, very accomplished author, as well as a mentor to many. He wrote The Definitive Guide to Google AdWords, The Ultimate Guide to Facebook Advertising, and most recently he's really sort of picked the 80-20 Pareto principle relative to sales and marketing, and he's really running with it. And Perry, I remember Perry once saying in one of his trainings where he says, look, I don't know about showing you ways to get 20 more customers, but I can definitely show you 20 different ways to get a customer, to get one customer. So what Perry is saying is very similar to Dan Kennedy, is that, maybe your mindset shouldn't always necessarily be to say, right, I need this many people, even though, if you know your numbers, you've got reason for why you're saying that. But what he's saying is that let me use all these different platforms in order to get these customers. And what I like to try and sort of say is, don't be like the Wonders. Those of you who didn't get to see this fantastic movie, and when I say fantastic, certainly nothing that's going to win Academy Awards or anything else like that, but it was just a really good sort of couple of hours of entertainment. The movie was called That Thing You Do, okay? And it was just about a group of kids who in America in the 60s who just sort of had a real passion for music and a passion for life, and they sang this tune called That Thing You Do. The problem was, it was the only song that they sang, and before too long they sort of got found out, that and sort of just the ins and outs of just growing up, and the pressures of all that, and then they sort of dissolved as a band, but they only had one tune. So by the time people had heard it and liked it, they just couldn't carry on just sort of riding that horse time after time. So what I like you to try and do is think of your media, think of that toolbox as pillars, okay? Think of them as pillars. And when we look at some of the real sort of structure of pillars, you can see how strong and sturdy, even even if it looks like the pillars have been there for a while and things like that, you can just see a right sort of platform, for want of a better word, and you can see it really sort of being strong enough to hold something up. And that's the mindset I want you to have when you are formulating your media, okay? I want you to have that same sort of variety and that same sturdiness to you. Now, this is an interesting one, because what I wanted to do here was provide you with a case study about a client who I was working with about 3 years ago now, all right? And at the time, it was a franchised company, so what he had to sort of promote, the offering each month, was a monthly email from headquarters. That was it. So they're a franchise, and there was just a sort of blanket email set up. Now, if we go back a couple of slides, all right, and you look at this, you see the sturdiness of it, and you see here again with the pillars, and then you look at that, all right, and then we move it down. I just wanted to sort of put it in the middle, just to perhaps provide you with more of a sort of a visual that you can sort of look at and relate to a little bit better. But can you see how wobbly that sort of thing was? If we're looking at that, the business sort of just hinging, and the marketing efforts on just that one aspect, that monthly email. So then what we did when I got in with him, we the first thing we did was I sort of said, look, we need to start moving away from just getting the news from the national area, and we need to make it a little bit more local. He was very good about getting out there and doing some networking. So as you can see, we created some local web pages, some bespoke web pages with their products and services. We put an opt-in form there, so there was some email marketing, and then there was also some networking as well. And can you see straight away, compared to what we had here, all right, wobble, 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 right, boom, a bit of sturdiness to it with the media, okay? And then we began to branch out even more. So in addition to the web pages and the email marketing and the networking, we got some social media, we got some workshop training, we got some partnerships and joint ventures, we got some direct mail as well. And then by the end, we added continual pillars. Now, can you see the sturdiness? And this is really what I want you to focus on very strongly when you're creating your own sort of media. You can't fall into that trap of so many people have, where it's just an ad every month or an ad every week, or just doing one thing here or just the website, because you're going to have that same unbalance to it. I mean, it just doesn't come any weaker than that, all right? You've got to really strengthen it. So make sure that you have many tools in the toolbox, but use the pillars, use that sort of Colosseum almost analogy in your mind, just to add some sturdiness to your media. And then of course you need to optimize. So this then moves us on to optimization, and optimization really is when I said at the start of this video how deep this goes, this is a very, very broad and deep topic, but what I just want you to understand in this first instance is what optimization is, and then the different things that you're going to apply it to, and why, if you do not know that, you're going to leave a lot of opportunities on the table out there, because for the simple fact you haven't optimized certain parts of your media. So according to the online definitions, because it's always good to get different definitions so you can get a fuller perspective of them, optimization says an act, process, or methodology of making something as fully perfect functional or effective as possible. Okay, and I like that, effective as possible. And this man, Jay Abraham, who is widely known in America as one of the leading marketing experts, business development experts. He is known in many places as the $9 billion man, I beg your pardon, because he's been responsible for basically generating that kind of money for his clients. And he's very, very big on optimization. I'm going to send you later on to a link of an interview that he does, a terrific interview that he does where he discusses that in great detail. But Jay Abraham says that optimization is the process of getting the maximum yield for the maximum duration of time with the minimal investment. He says you cannot optimize until you understand the options, opportunities, and possibilities that are available. Okay, so once again, he's saying this is what the process is. However, until you understand the options, opportunities, and possibilities, you can't effectively optimize. So what do we optimize? What do I optimize? What's an example of optimization with the media? Okay, so let's look at my website, okay, my web page for that matter. And you can see I've put my name up there in the web address, muchamarapa.com. So I've optimized that opportunity because basically what I want to make sure is that on the page, I want to make sure that I get the absolute most out of this, for anybody visiting the page. To the right hand side, you can see the social media links have also been added to the page. So I'm, again, just trying to get the very most out of that. Now, this is the interesting one. When you see the social media links on the previous page there for the website, okay, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and then we move down here, you can see Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. There's a direct correlation between that. Those get clicked a lot, and as you can see as a result, via the search engines, you can see the social media channels being optimized. Also on the page here, I have got different programs, all sorts of different sort of areas that when people get to the page, we make the most out of it to get people into different kind of funnels as well. So for example, you saw the click on the website there that was leading people to this page here. All right, so what I want to do is I want to move people away from my site into specific funnels relative to what they're interested in doing. But as you can see there, that is also an email opt-in, so they can sign up and then they go into the funnel for that. When they do sign up for that book, okay, they sign up for the book, and then the thank you page is actually the opportunity to sell something else to them, right? So I've said to them in the previous one, okay, you can see here, free Facebook training, and it is indeed a free ebook, okay? It's teaching people how to do what I do every day, which is manage Facebook fan pages and get paid to do so, all right? However, after they've done that, all right, I've said to them, hey, look, would you like to see a video version of this ebook? So really just trying to get the absolute most out of every opportunity that's out there. Again, you see the 7 steps to marketing mastery there on the actual page itself. Once again, it goes into a playlist on YouTube, and there's an opportunity to then join some private coaching. So stay with me here, because what we're trying to do is just show you that, I'm using the sort of web platform at the moment as a form of optimization, but just showing you how you can sort of continually get the most, the absolute most, and understand how many options that you have to do this. So if I now move over to my Facebook fan page, as you can see, it's facebook.com/Mucha Marketing. I have set out to optimize the username there so people can see my name and then they can see marketing associated with that name. We move along, we look at the cover here, okay, so you see the cover, Build a Better Business, right? I've looked to optimize this with this cover, and you can just see up at the right here, there is a link that actually takes you off to that radio show. So again, just really trying to work all the channels and all the avenues there. I've put those red arrows there so you can see many of the different areas of optimization here. The bit underneath it, just sort of, you can see facebook.com, and then underneath that you can see the provider of digital marketing services, my website. But what we're going to focus on here is how I have looked to optimize my timeline with that "Can we help you?" arrow at the bottom left. that takes us to a landing page. I'm talking about working all the different things that are available on offer, okay? And at the bottom, yes, an opportunity to put somebody else into a funnel. But interestingly enough, when you look at this here, that is the look from a desktop. Okay, that's the look from a desktop. So if you're sitting at your laptop or your desktop PC, you can see that. But if you move on to a mobile device, you can still find it. So you optimize your media as well in order for it to be found via mobile devices, because once again, that is very, very important. Okay, so do you see how thorough we're getting? And I'm just going to carry on, because what I also want to show to you is back on the Facebook timeline page. I'm talking about a provider of digital marketing services, and I also teach, coach, and mentor. That link takes us off onto a sales page. All right. So what I'm just trying to say is that when we go back to what Joe Abraham said, and he says getting the absolute maximum for the absolute direction time, taking total advantage of all the opportunities you have. This is what we're talking about optimizing your media. However, it's not only limited to online marketing and online media. You can very, very easily and comfortably optimize your media offline. This is a flyer that went out, where once again set out a link to do some training. Here in the UK, an MOT is the test that a car goes to show that it's roadworthy. So I created something back in the day called a website MOT. I don't have it up anymore, but that was it before. Here's another thing that was really interesting. Okay, optimizing business cards. As you can see on the front, very basic card, just got the name, got a few things about what I do. But look on the back, okay, free training course. All right, and then it's got a website there. So once again, that will take people from the card online, get them to give me their email, just optimizing every opportunity. So when Jay made a point of getting the maximum yield for the maximum duration of time, what we're saying in effect, therefore, is that if I have 250 business cards and I hand them out, right, as long as I hand them out, I'm having an opportunity to optimize this and get maximum yield. So it's very, very important that you remember that. Now, there are some other areas of optimization that I think it's worth really talking about, because this is a marketing course. All right, so this is why we're focusing very heavily on marketing, but there are so many different things. You can optimize relationships and so on and so forth. But when we're talking about in the media area, as you saw, there's the website, there's the blog, landing pages, your sales funnel, your advertising, your brochures, your emails, your thank you pages. This is probably, you saw earlier on, where I gave the ebook away, and then anybody that signed up for it on the thank you page, I took an opportunity to sell something. So that's really one of those really lower hanging fruit areas. Surveys, tracking, retargeting, and much more. So now we move over to this age-old question of free media or money media. Do we go the organic way or do we go the paid way? And this is something that I have really changed my outlook on over the years, where I'm at a stage now where I feel that if you want to stay in business, and if you want to consistently be able to forecast, and for that matter, if you want to become better at marketing, I actually lean towards one way, which I'll talk to you about in a moment. But the person who I really need to thank for this is my marketing sales funnel teacher, Todd Brown. He is an exceptional human being, a very, very, very accomplished marketer, and just very much cares about his people. And Todd says, if you can pay money to acquire a customer and at least break even, you will never struggle to build your business again. All right, and this is a very profound thing to say. All right, if you can pay money to acquire a customer and at least break even, you'll never struggle to build your business again. And Todd went even a little bit deeper in some of his teachings, where he actually said some of the great marketers, if they have enough of a back end, which we'll talk about, they might even take a bit of a loss because they understand some of their numbers to know that if initially to acquire a customer is going to cost you some money, but you know that over time you will get that back and then actually get into profit, it is worth doing that. Now, Todd's reasoning and rationale was you need to learn how to spend money to acquire a customer because while referrals and repeat referrals are very important, okay, it's very difficult to be in a position where you can build a foundation for your business and forecast accurately and effectively by just sort of repeat business and organic sort of traffic and organic customer acquisition. You need to know and learn how to put a dollar down, right? And at the very least get a dollar back, because once you learn that, you can just scale. Also, you learn the importance of a back end. So once somebody comes in, as I'd mentioned in a previous teaching, it's the classic McDonald's saying, "Do you want fries with this?" Okay, you sell the burger and then you say, "Would you like a Happy Meal?" It gives you that opportunity to sell more and sell deeper. Next time you look at the lifetime value. You're watching a course now for the introduction to marketing. It's very possible that some of you may want to go a little bit deeper into marketing or social media marketing or marketing testing or copywriting and things like that. So you can focus on a lifetime value and say, okay, in the long term, I can stand to do very well out of bringing a customer in for A amount and making A plus over time. And then gradually, and this is really, really important, you will look at your paid media as an investment and not as an expense. And that is really it in a nutshell. Too many people turn around and they sort of think straight away, oh, look, this is an expense. But when you begin to learn how to do this properly, your paid media will be an investment, not an expense. So if we're looking at 12 mandatory forms of media that I think that you need to definitely take on, all right, and that you need to have in your business right now, or if you are doing this on behalf of somebody, I would say it's the website or the blog, okay, the actual kind of quote-unquote brochure we'd previously spoken about. Then you need to have landing or squeeze pages. These are separate. If the blog's like the brochure, then the landing and squeeze pages are like leaflets or flyers, okay? Email, direct mail, something tangible that goes out there. Social media, and that can go off in so many different avenues itself. Multimedia, so audio and video, particularly with these devices now where it's so easy for someone to watch a YouTube video on the go or download something from iTunes or SoundCloud or Mixcloud. You really need to have multimedia. A flyer or a leaflet, okay? So just, like something that you can hand out, you can use as inserts. Pay-per-click advertising. So my thoughts now on using paid media. And I would say the lower hanging fruits are Google AdWords, Facebook ads, and I also believe that Bing is coming into its own as well. Direct response business card. If you remember before, I showed you my business card where I had something on the front and something on the back with a call to action. Referrals, okay, so while I said it's very important to be able to use paid media, I still want to make sure that you are calling on other people to become advocates for you, okay, face to face. We live in this digital world where everybody just sort of assumes that you can do everything behind a screen, but getting in front of someone face to face, belly to belly, as Rick I, the LinkedIn guy, likes to say, is still, in my opinion, the best way to sell. And then the telephone, try and pick up the phone, if not once a day, once every few days, or certainly no less than once a week. Pick up the phone and call someone, speak to someone. Use that as a powerful way of media. And you'll be surprised at how many people say, oh, I've been thinking of calling you. Oh, you just called at the right time. But pick up the phone. And the beautiful thing about it is that because you'll have complementing forms of media, you won't necessarily need to come across as sort of out-and-out telesales. You need to learn. I'm just sort of talking to you about it again. You really do need to learn how to spend money to acquire that customer, okay? Make sure that you just set a little bit of money aside and practice with it. Learn the importance of a back end, okay? What else is there? What additional things, can you add to your product, that almost Apple product suite, all right? Look at that. The lifetime value. Peter Drucker was the one who says, the purpose of your business is to acquire and keep a customer. So when you keep a customer, all of a sudden you can say, okay, what is the lifetime value of this customer? And then, as you move forward, you'll begin to see that, I can put $1 in and I can get $5 back, or I can put $2 in and I can get 25 back. And then that's when it becomes absolute magic, because then you just keep feeding the machine, as the AdWords expert David Rothwell likes to say. So, key takeaway, right? Although I'm saying sort of one key takeaway, I'm just sort of covering it in these big points here. Optimization, as you saw, can be totally exhausting. We just went on the marketing optimization here, so be kind to yourself. Don't get overwhelmed, right? Do not try to optimize everything at once, but do consider optimizing in different areas relative to your offering and the forms of media you're using. But sit down and look and begin to say, right, how can I get the absolute maximum out of this? Can I put something here and put something there? And like I said, it can be pretty exhausting, if not relentless. And the more automated you can optimize, the better. So you saw with a lot of things that I had, it's almost a step by step. Someone gets this and then they click on here and then they go into a list here. The more you can do that with your optimization and make it automated, the better you will be. Alright, so here is an exercise for you, okay? We were talking about media. We were really getting deep and detailed into media here. So what I would like you to do is analyze your offering and see where you can improve on your optimization in these areas. Look at your web page, okay, and landing page optimization. If you do not have individual web pages and landing pages that are different from your website and your blog, you need to start getting those up, okay? You really do, because you can really optimize these with retargeting and opt-ins and downloads and so on and so forth. Social media optimization. Again, I'm probably not the best person to speak to when I sort of weigh up the ins and outs of ongoing engagement, right? But I am the best person to speak to when I talk about making sure you optimize your profiles. So not only are you found in the search engines, but what people see in those search engines is what you want them to know about your business from a positioning standpoint. Look at your marketing content and make sure that it's optimized. Do you have calls to action there? Do you have keywords that are going to help you be found via the search engines? And then finally, go to the Matrix Global Media YouTube channel and look out. By the way, you should listen to both parts. I will put them up. They're not up yet, but they will be up by the time this course is completed. Jay Abraham and Tony Robbins, they have an interview, and it's part 2, where Jay Abraham talks about optimization, and there's some really fascinating stuff. He really is one of the best in the absolute business, so make sure that you listen to that as well. Alright, so coming next, we're going to be talking about tracking, testing and measuring, where we'll discuss the importance of the understanding of your return on investment, the danger of focusing on traffic. You hear so many people say traffic. Well, I'm going to say why that's a dangerous thing sometimes. The fact that you have to have a testing mindset. We're going to look at just some very, very basic forms of split testing, as well as the use of analytics. And this module can often be seen as quite sort of an aspect of marketing that people don't find as exciting as creating headlines and putting whiz-bang graphics up and audio and video and all that stuff. But you know what? This ultimately is where the rubber meets the road. You've got to track, you've got to test, and you've got to measure. I've got some pretty harsh words from some terrific marketers in the next module who talk about the fact that, the consequences if you don't do this, and also, sort of what it means, what you're sort of implying about yourself and your business if you don't get serious about understanding ROI, the importance of testing, and the use of analytics and measuring. You must do this, all right? And we're going to go we're going to talk about that in the next module. All right, and would love to connect with you. Let me know what you're thinking of this training. Let me know if you have any questions, okay? Because we whiz through here, and some of it's deep and detailed. I do encourage you to sort of go back and listen and pause, write some notes, but then come, connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a tweet, come onto the Facebook page. That's probably the best place to ask any questions relative to this course. I will do my very best to answer. Some of my best teachings from others I will be putting onto the Matrix Global Media blog, and as I've mentioned several times on the actual Matrix Global Media YouTube channel, you'll find some little video teachings and nuggets, and also the interviews. The Gary Halbert interview is on there, as will the Tony Robbins and Jay Abraham. So thanks for joining me. Really look forward to seeing you in the next module of the introduction to marketing.